Which optic is best for nighttime shooting?
Aimpoint
Or Eotech?
In this video, we're gonna be taking a look night vision shooting, thermal shooting, upsides, downsides, and see which one is better.
First, let's talk about Eotech. So it's one of the most popular sights out there for obvious reasons. Works really well, but what it does the best probably is work in conjunction with night vision.
It has a bunch of different night vision modes. On the side, there's a specific button for night vision use. So you're not playing with any dials, you're not looking for a specific setting. You just press the button and you are good to go. And it goes really dim, so you can use it with any kind of night vision out there.
So this one specifically is the single dot. So most Eotechs that people run have the circle dot, but for night vision that might be, even in night vision mode, might be too much light coming into your device. So I prefer the single dot like this one.
But it's a question of taste.
Yeah.
Some people prefer the circle dot, some people prefer the single dot. We sell both of them, so pick your poison. Other main biggest selling point of the Eotech is that it's holographic, meaning that it has less parallax. If you are using regular red dots, you need to be looking directly straight into the sight, and you need to make sure that your dot is in the center of the glass. But Eotech, you can get away with weird positions. You don't need to look straight into the optic, and you can still pull accurate shots. That is the whole reason why you want an holographic sight. That's the main advantage against regular red dots. The Aimpoint T2 also has very small parallax, but the Eotech is better in that regard.
For night vision, the Eotech also is good because it has a very large window compared to like a T2.
Yep.
So if you're looking for a target or you're aiming at a target, you for like closer distances, you can actually see the whole target or what you're aiming at with your night vision. When you're looking through this small hole through the T2, then there might not be enough light coming through it for you to identify it. So you might have to look from the side of the sight and then look through the sight again.
What makes the most difference is the glass quality. Eotech and Aimpoint both have really good glass quality. That's why we are talking about them. If you compare it to cheaper red dots like the Holosun or any other alternatives, the glass isn't as clear. With night vision, you get this effect that you are looking through the sight and the stuff that you are seeing through your window is darker. But this is not the case for Eotech. The Eotech almost feels like there's no glass. It's just so clear. Same with the T2, but personally I feel that the Eotech is like 5 to 10% better.
Agree.
Okay, let's talk about the downsides. First that comes to mind is battery life. The Eotech has around 2,500 hours of battery life, depending on the setting. If you're running it on the lowest setting, you can even squeeze out 5,000. But it's in the ballpark of 2,500 and 5,000 compared to the T2, which is like 50,000. So it's massively less. And in order to run the holographic system, it's more power hungry and you need to change the battery more often. But 2,500 hours is still quite a long time.
Yep.
And the sight itself will start flashing when the battery is starting to go empty. And this is your signal to change the battery. Second downside is the shape of the optic itself. So if you want to use a thermal in front of here, there will be a gap between the thermal and the Eotech. So it doesn't matter if you are using the Falcon 640 V2, Cherry YM or any other thermal sight, you will have this gap between here. During the night, it doesn't really matter. The thermal picture, the clarity of the thermal picture is same, does not matter. But during the day, it can become an issue because light can shine on the diopter of the thermal or into your sight and it can blind you and the picture does not seem as bright as it would with an Aimpoint.
In conclusion, the Eotech is currently my preferred sight because I like to do a lot of CQB, and I like to use night vision and do passive aiming, for which the Eotech is superior. Next, let's take the Eotech for a spin with the thermal.
So, giving you this experience, what do we see when we look down the optics is extremely hard. We have to use phone mounts like this. Sometimes we rig the weapon on a tripod and rig the camera behind it on another tripod, and it's very hard to show you how it looks like. But we're trying our best, so you can see those videos. And this is the reason why we can't do it like running around and doing more cooler stuff, because the phone here is wobbly and it will just get off center and the stuff is not as beautiful. But the clips that you are seeing are filmed like this. Shows some laser and illuminator how it looks through the sight.
Here we have the Aimpoint T2, probably something that I've used 10 times more than any other sight. Small, lightweight, durable.
I think it's the most popular red dot in the world, and there's a reason for it. Aimpoint is one of the most trusted optic manufacturers out there, and all of their sights are known to be nuclear war proof.
And they are actually the ones that came up with the red dot sight.
Yeah, I have never seen an Aimpoint fail, and the battery life is just crazy. When I got my first sight, I put the battery in there. It was years ago. The battery is still in there. I haven't switched it off. It's still going.
Goes for years continuous.
The battery life is amazing. I don't know how they managed to squeeze so much out of it, but 10,000 hours and more of runtime. I think this is like even 50,000. That's insane. So you have massive battery life. You pretty much do not have to change the battery. The glass is really clear. Same as Eotech. You look through it, and during the day and also with night vision, it almost seems like there's no glass in between. Pretty much when you use night vision, you do not lose any brightness. If you're using cheaper optics, then you look through your sight, the picture you're seeing looks darker than the rest of the stuff, but not the case with this
You can
one.
even see it during daytime. If you hold up the different sights like the T2, the Eotech, or like a Holosun, then you can already see that the Holosun glass is like greenish or something, and it less light through.
Has a bit of a color, but this one is completely clear, and the dot inside
is crisp.
Is also crisp. With the cheaper optics, the dot gets a bit hazy, and this is very precise. This is like a small, very precise dot, and that's what I personally prefer.
That's what I prefer on the T2 over the Eotech, is the holographic technology that's used in the Eotech. The dot there is also, it's not as crisp.
It's kind of fuzzy because it's a hologram.
But this one is just a crisp, bright spot.
The thing is, with Eotech, you must focus your eyes on the target. Anyway, if you are using red dot optics, your focus should be on the target, and then you just bring your dot in front of it, and then not focusing on the dot, but on the target, it looks crisp. Easy way to test it, if you're doing it correctly, is aim down like a target that's 100 meters away, focus on the target, bring your gun up, and then put your hand in front of the optic. And then you can see if your eyes have to readjust focus to get the dot, or maybe you were staring at the dot, which is wrong. But Eotech, for me at least, I can't look at the dot. I need to look at the target. Then the dot becomes crisper. But this doesn't matter. I can look at the dot or I can look at the target, and the dot is same crispiness.
Yep. And as you can see, it's very small, very compact and light compared to an Eotech, which is why I've been mostly running this one. I recently switched over to Eotech for night vision use, but this has seen more than 10 years runtime on my rifle.
Yeah, the how to adjust it, the logic, turning this dial switches between the modes and turns it on. If you turn it to the beginning, this is off, then starts night vision mode, has a couple of night vision settings, and then it turns into a visible dot.
And the way we like to run it is, of course, on a riser, you can be in a better posture, which also means your magnification has to be on a higher mount. And also, if you have a thermal in front, it needs that accessory riser.
So the main upside when compared with an Eotech is that the optic itself, the size of it, the diameter is pretty much the same as of one of your thermals. So if you put a thermal on here, you can pretty much get it against the glass. And currently there's a small gap in between there, but in reality you can eliminate the gap, set them even further, closer together. This gives you the ability to also use it during the day, because with an Eotech you might get some shine in between the two sighting systems, and this will cause the picture to be dimmer and not as clear, but this you can get a crystal clear image even during the day. So small tips and tricks. If you want to get the thermal image even better and less light spill, then use the included rubber eye cup that comes with the Falcon 640, and then you can eliminate this gap altogether. You might be able to get it to work with Eotech if you use the longer rubber eye cup, but it definitely works better with the Aimpoint T2 and with an LPVO because the optics are so similar and close together.
Now let's shoot the Aimpoint with night vision. Next, Aimpoint with thermal.
So let's talk about the LPVO. It's bad for night vision shooting, but it's very good for something else.
So if you put the thermal in front, this will probably give you the best thermal image in a clip-on thermal.
Yeah, honestly, the picture just looks so crisp. With the Aimpoint Eotech, other prism sights, we haven't been able to get the picture to be as crisp as possible. The LPVO gives a very, very nice, clear and crisp image. There's a couple of quirks to it. You have to adjust the diopter of the thermal.
Yeah, based on the zoom. Yeah.
But you don't have to play with it all the time. So the thing that you need to do is put your optic to maximum power, then start adjusting the diopter of your thermal until the image looks clear and crisp. Then you can turn the power down, image still stays crisp, and now you're set for LPVO shooting.
Now, in addition, if you do want to use an LPVO with night vision, you need to have an extra tiny little red dot on top. Otherwise, you would have to rely on the thermal.
Yeah, or canted.
Yep.
But because you can't shoot through the LPVO with night vision, there's too much glass, too much magnification. The LPVO itself swallows so much light that night vision, just looking straight through it, is not viable. But yeah, some people run an RMR on top, maybe canted on the side. Aimpoint Acro is very popular to put on top of here, and it must be a night vision capable sight, because we have one prism sight in our armory which has an RMR on top, but it's not night vision capable,
it's
so
too
it's
bright,
kind of useless. Yeah. The diameter of the scope matches the Falcon 640 V2, and you can bring it really close, which means that there's no reflections, and you can also use it during the day. With the Eotech, it kind of has this downside that there's a lot of space in between the sights and the sun can shine on them, and it's not ideal for use during the day. But this you can run during the day, no questions. Summertime, yeah, you have more thermal signatures, but currently, winter, use it 24/7. Don't want to use it, done.
If you have the thermal in the front, you actually want your optics to be on the same level. There is some leniency there. It doesn't have to be exactly at the same level. It can be off by like, what's it?
5 millimeters,
5
to 10
millimeters here and
millimeters.
there. It doesn't make a difference because you can move the image inside of the thermal, but you want to have it as close as possible. It'll just give you more ability to move the image inside.
So it's quite hard lining up your thermals with your optics. So we are trying to standardize it as much as we can. So if you put a Unity accessorizer under the QDF and get your LPVO to the 2.26 height, which is really popular, then it works. And the QDF itself, we have made a custom mount for it to be perfectly flush, and this sits around 1.7 inches.
Yep. So if you have a 30 millimeter or 34 millimeter optic, then we have the optic rings to match perfectly with the thermal. It's completely dark outside and I see absolutely nothing through the LPVO. When I flip on the thermal, I see the target perfectly. Now, when I want to use the night vision and I try to look through the LPVO, I still see nothing. Too much glass in the way, absorbs all the light and pitch black.
This is LPVO night vision POV.
No, midagi saab. Aga väga raske.
And this is LPVO with a thermal.
So, a little conclusion. Why we picked these two sites to compare. They're the two best ones on the market. Can't really argue that. And they're known for reliability. Their use cases, they're like everything.
You can't go wrong with either one. But I personally like the Aimpoint more because the thermal experience is a bit better. I also like to use thermals during the day. Not as much during the summer, but fall and winter, I'm running the thermal on my gun 24/7, no questions. That's why I have picked the Aimpoint. And also, what I didn't talk about Eotech, when it rains, this place here gets filled with water and then you have to push the water out before you can shoot. But what I liked, I ran the Eotech for a couple of years and the parallax is really, really, really good. You can get off with some ridiculous shots and it's definitely a huge upside for the Eotech.
And because they're both so good, we have both of them available. And based on what you heard in this video, you can just decide for yourself which upsides, downsides you prefer or don't. And then
I would say that people who are more CQB focused usually take the Eotech. Yep. People who are more like conventional and doing other things more than CQB, they usually take the Aimpoint.
Yeah,
and
but both are good for both.
That kind of wraps it up.
If you like and subscribe, it would be pretty nice.
It would be pretty cool if you would like and subscribe.
Most of you still don't.
Yeah, like just subscribe, bro. Like we need 1 million followers. When I heard that the million subscriber play button is invisible to thermals.
Yeah. We promised our CEO by the end of this year. I think we're gonna fail that one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Make it work, guys. We need it. Or we get fired.